Hi, doctor. Today we're going to be talking about the seventh of the 9 things that you need to do in order to get ready for 2014. And today we're going to be talking about marketing, putting your marketing plan together. Finally, talking about marketing. Almost every doctor I talk to wants more new patients, thinks that that's their problem. If they just had more new patients, all their problems would be solved. And hopefully I've shown you in the past 6 videos that that's not necessarily true. There's a reason marketing for me is the 7th of the 9 steps. The first 6 that we've talked about so far are far more important to get yourself ready to handle new patients. I've mentioned in an earlier video that a lot of doctors, if they got a lot of new patients right now, wouldn't be able to handle them. They'd be wasting money on marketing. So I'm assuming you've done the first 6 steps. I'm assuming you've created more capacity in your practice. I'm assuming you've refined all your policies and procedures for new patients and employees. And I'm assuming you've simplified things to the most of your ability so that you can see more patients. In that case, marketing is a very good idea. But marketing when you're not ready for them is a terrible idea, simply because, again, you're wasting money to push people through the front door when people are going out the back door. So fix your systems first, and then we can sit down to marketing. Now, to talk about marketing, all I'm recommending in this video is that you create a plan for next year. Know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it, and then follow that plan. It's very hard for me to make recommendations to a broad group of marketing ideas, because I don't believe, not only do I not believe, I've found it to be true that the same marketing doesn't work for every doctor. You can't do the same thing as the guy up the street. It might not work for you. It's all going to be based on your personality, your style of practice, your demographics, where you live. There's a lot involved in finding the right marketing plan for you. So all I'm asking you is to find the 2, 3, 5 programs that you want to run next year and lay them out over the course of 2014. So I want to give you some ideas. I want to tell you a little bit about what's working these days. But again, you've got to pick what you want and then lay it out and make sure that you follow that system next year. So first and foremost, I talked earlier in the reactivation program. I feel like that's the #1 place to start with marketing, is with your reactivations. Work with the people who've already been with you before. They're certainly willing to come back in and see you some more. So we've already talked about that. So let's move on to internal programs. You should definitely work on your internal programs before you ever look at your external programs. External money programs are obviously going to cost money to work with people who don't even know you yet. So first and foremost, let's work with some warm leads. Programs that I recommend to a lot of my clients would just be any sort of internal referral-based program, so a referral card type program. So you have referral cards that you're giving out at a certain time of the month, and this is something that should be planned. It shouldn't be, hey, I have a bunch of cards just sitting in my drawer, and if somebody happens to mention me, oh, their cousin has carpal tunnel, I'll give them these cards. It's got to be planned. Once a month is what I recommend, that you're giving out 3 cards to everybody, and you're really pushing that referral concept to people, putting it in front of them. It doesn't have to be pushy per se, but you have to at least put it in their hands so that people are out there looking for people to bring into you. They become your foot soldiers, if you will, bringing people into the office. Another thing I recommend is just make sure your new patient procedures have a welcome letter, a thank you for referring letter, probably several other letters in that process as well. We've got to be marketing to our new patients. In the first 3 months of their active care program, they should hear referrals from you over and over and over again. We want to make sure that we set up our internal programs, that if we go out and do external marketing and we bring in 5 new patients, we've got to multiply those 5 new patients. They've got to become 10, they've got to become 12. So that way if we get 5 new patients from an external marketing source and they become 12, it makes our external marketing less expensive. But we've got to put our internal systems in place. So make sure every new patient gets a series of touches to some degree, asking about referrals, also increasing their retention and their maintenance care and stuff of that nature. But make sure referrals is a big part of that. Seasonal events seem to be a big one in offices, and they still work very, very well. Everything from just doing seasonal events, like right now a lot of people are doing coat drives, food drives, Toys for Tots, that type of stuff. They all work real well. Whether you do it just as a community outreach event with no referral concept, or whether you put together some sort of a raffle, everybody brings out something in, gets put in there, we're giving away new patients, we're giving away gifts, whatever it might be. Obviously check your state laws, but those seasonal events just tend to create community, which is more important. The relationship building is often more important than getting 1 new patient for that day. So I'm a big fan of newsletters, both direct mail as well as email. Everybody wants to go email these days, but direct mail is still very, very important. Now, I mentioned in the reactivation video that we should cut down to our top 20%, and I believe that rule applies here as well. You don't want to send a newsletter to everybody, in my opinion. If you have 1,000 people on your list and you're sending a newsletter to them, that's $1,000 a month. I'd rather get it down to your core group of people, your top 200, your top 20%ers. You're going to get great results by spending that $200, better than you would if you spent that $1,000. Your return on investment is going to be much better. The other thing I'm recommending in internal workshops, just seem to be working across the country really well, is the dinner workshops. They've been doing them for years. Obviously, you have to do them right. It can't be a hard sales pitch, but internal referral, community building dinner workshops where you're inviting a few of your favorite patients and they're bringing some friends. Nothing pushy, nothing salesy. You don't want it to seem like a timeshare presentation. But if you do it right and you do it on a regular basis, those dinner workshops really tend to expand. Because again, if you do any other kind of external marketing, bring new patients in, they come to this dinner workshop, bring some friends, it just continues to multiply the effect of the external marketing. So those are the internal programs I'm looking at right now that seem to work really well. We got several other ones, but those are the ones that are working best. We start talking about external marketing. Obviously, there's a lot of media out there. You could be in the newspapers, you could be in on radio, on TV. Those things still work in certain markets, but you've got to know your market. And if you do any of that type of stuff, it's got to be a couple of very important things. One, it's got to be direct response. It's got to make sure that people actually pick up the phone by reading that stuff. It can't just be branding this day and age. Too much other branding going on. You should have a branding aspect to it. We got to make sure that it makes people take action. And then number two, you follow up with those leads very well. And I'm going to talk about that here at the end of this video. The other thing that just works real well is just community involvement. Everything from joining clubs. So, if you're looking at 2014, what clubs do you want to join next year? How much do you want to participate? Do you want to be in a networking group or Kiwanis or any of that stuff? Figure out if you want to do it and set it up. Do it by strategy, not by need. Don't wait till June and figure out you need to get in these clubs. Think about what you need to do and get involved. Community involvement goes beyond just those clubs. Obviously, you could get into working at 5K races, volunteering there, golf events. In fact, we're recommending that our clients start their own 5K races. That's a program we're going to have coming up here in the spring that we're going to offer out to the profession, is how to set up your own 5K event and really benefit from that by being that sports doctor. So we'll talk about that later. But 5K golf events, great things, just getting out there. And that goes for every type of practice. What level do you want to be involved? I mean, I got docs that go out there and do screenings every weekend. And they love them. They're bringing a whole bunch of new patients that way. I've got other docs that's just like, last thing I want to do is go out and do a screening. So figure out what fits for you. You've got to get involved in the community somehow. So figure out if that means you're going to go out and do lectures, or you're going to go out and do screenings, or you simply want to, like I said, be a part of a 5K group, 5K run. 5K run could be different levels as well. You can go out there and do screenings and sand machine and chair massage if you offer that in the office. Or you could just put coupons in the goodie bags. Any level of that, just being out involved, plan it out for 2014. And then obviously the big thing right now is social media, websites. Make sure that you have a plan going forward. I see too many people handing this off to groups or organizations to run it for them these days, which I shouldn't say that. Some of that's very, very good. If they're posting for you on a regular basis and they're staying in front of people, that's great. But you've got to plan what you want to accomplish in your social media. How many friends do you want to get? How many likes do you want to get? Have a goal for it, shoot for it, and do the things that are necessary. Videos are obviously very big right now. That's one of the reasons I'm doing them, but you should be doing them in practice as well. Very easy to get some good search engine optimization on those videos. So have a video plan. Have a production calendar, if you will. So say I want to do so many videos per week, or I want to do so many blog posts per week. Schedule it out for 2014 and then stick to that schedule. Now, probably one of the most important things with everything I just put together and share with you is that no matter what you do, bringing people in, getting leads, you do some sort of a follow-up system. I highly recommend getting some sort of a service, an Aweber or a Constant Contact, everything up to Infusionsoft or Office Autopilot, something that would follow up with your leads. Some practice management softwares do that for you these days, typically not as robust as some of the ones that you can get separate from that. But my point being is if you go out and you do a 5K race, and I've seen this happen many times, people go out and do a screening, and they'll meet 100 people, and 10 of them will sign up and become patients. That's great, but there's other 90 people that met you and are interested. We've got to follow up with those people. Same goes for any speech that you might give. Same goes for anything you do on social media. If you're getting leads to that, we want to take them somewhere where we can get their email address or get their address and follow up with those people. Very gently, very nicely, just stay in front of them. Our business is based on the moment. A patient has a headache and wants to come see a chiropractor. We'd like them to come for us, just because, but that doesn't always happen. So we've got to stay in front of them, which is another important part about this follow-up system. If you know any of that stuff, if you know why they came to your booth at a screening, or you know why they came to your speech, or you know why they're looking at you on social media, if you know what their symptoms are, then make their follow-up system you put to them match those symptoms, match what they're looking for. And those things, a lot of people think are so hard to put together. I've put together hundreds of them for my clients, really different based on personality, but quite honestly, they are hard to put together, but they're well worth it because they create great leverage. So instead of having to do the same thing over and over and over again, you do it once and then you can automate the system. So follow-up systems are ultimately important. And if you don't have one in place, at least a generic one already, I highly recommend that be the number one thing you do in 2014 is get that follow-up system ready. So again, anybody who comes in and meets you anywhere will be put on it, be contacted both by email, direct mail, whatever avenue you have to connect with them. And then as the year goes on, you could take that generic one and kind of create some different systems for different symptoms, for different ways that they found you. Obviously, if they did a 5K race, you want it to be running based. If you learned about them in a golf tournament, you want it to be golf based. So you can kind of create some of that stuff as you go. And it really only takes a few extra touches because they might have met you somewhere and not been interested in what you have to offer, but 6 months later, again, they have that headache or they're playing golf and they throw their back out. You want to be in front of them at that time. Makes everything else you do much, much more valuable. So to boil that down, anything you do externally or social media wise should be multiplied by your internal referral programs, and also should be multiplied by the fact that you follow up with your leads strategically and over a long period of time. So again, the idea of the video was just to give you a couple ideas and to make sure that you sit down, spend a couple hours on a Saturday if you have to, and schedule out all of your marketing for 2014. Know exactly what you're going to do. Also have some goals tied to that. We talked about setting goals before. Each one of these should have a goal right next to it. So if you're going to do this certain program, how many new patients do you expect to get from that? And then try to hit those goals. But marketing is very, very important. Again, get all your policies and procedures in place first. Make sure you can handle the volume, and then go out and market like crazy because there's a lot of people out there that need your help.